So, Indiana Jones. Oh, hang on. Alright, so Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I just got back from watching it about an hour ago. The two things that stood out the most to me about this film is Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. He brought 100% to the role. You could just tell he was just giving it everything he had. It just brought the character more to life. And I just really enjoyed that aspect. The second thing would be the score is fantastic as always. John Williams never disappoints. His music is fantastic and it really helps make this movie. There's reoccurring themes from the other four films throughout this movie that John Williams reuses, and I liked that. I liked the callback to those moments. As far as an original new theme for this film, there probably was one, but I actually didn't pick up on it. The other four films definitely have their own theme. It's hummable. This one, I don't remember there being a theme at all for, this movie in of itself. So I found that interesting. I might have just missed it completely. So, anyhow. Alright, let's talk about the things I liked and the things I didn't like. I thought the action was great. People have complained that they thought the movie was too long. I didn't feel that. I thought it was a perfect amount of time. Any longer than it was, I probably would have agreed. But I thought the pacing seemed pretty good, and I also felt that overall, the movie never really felt like, oh man, this is really 2.5 hours. So, I thought the editing was good. There are some moments where things happen at night and it was a little dark and a little difficult to see, but you were still able to make out what was happening. I just would have preferred that it was a little brighter. Part of that is also the theater experience. I've noticed theaters tend to darken everything just a little bit, so when you watch it on streaming or on Blu-ray or something, it will be lighter. So I'm actually looking forward to that when I end up getting the Blu-ray. And yes, I like this movie enough to get the Blu-ray. I hope they come out with a really nice steelbook, because I'll save up my money and spend it on that. There were moments near the beginning, and this isn't really a spoiler, so the first 20 minutes of this film take place in 1945. The war is ending, and has a younger Indiana Jones. Still played by Harrison Ford, but they did some CGI de-aging technology. And I said in the trailer, the CGI effects for de-aging Harrison Ford, holy shit, they look so good. I still think it was great in the trailer. On a giant screen, which was an IMAX screen, things stood out a little bit. You could tell there was something not totally perfect about it. There's a point where he finally dons the hat, and that is when it seemed flawless from there forward with the de-aging. I thought that was great. It was just the moments where he didn't have the hat on and he just had his regular haircut or whatever, where it kind of stood out a little bit more. I think that when it comes out on Blu-ray or whatever, I think they'll have touched it up, honestly. So I'm not that worried about it. Part of it is also the screen is huge, and so when you're watching something on a bigger screen, details show up that you wouldn't notice on, say, a 65-inch TV or something. So the stunts were great. There was a few moments where I found, I don't know if it was the way people were moving or what, but some of the shots seemed like they were shot with characters in front of a green screen. There were a couple scenes, brief scenes, that just seemed kind of off and a little weird, so that was odd. But overall, I thought the CGI for most of the film was fine. Nothing stood out as oh my gosh, that looks terrible. So I don't really have complaints there either. I thought the characters were great. I liked that they added new characters as the journey went, even if they were only in the film for a few minutes. They were brand new characters, so characters we've never heard mentioned before. I thought it was a nice little addition to the story as it went. Throw in some fresh new characters for a few minutes and then just take them out, which is also a minor spoiler. reference that I just said. Now, someone told me that the last, 20-30 minutes of this film was completely, crazy, off the walls, bonkers. Bonkers sounds like such a weird word when you say it out loud. I will say that that is partially true, in a good way. They did things in the last 20 minutes where I was like, wow, they actually did that. That's kind of cool, and I think they did it totally fine. There's a couple very touching emotional moments in this film, and if I wasn't so tired and just exhausted from this heat and the air quality, I probably would have cried, maybe gotten a little teary-eyed, maybe, but I didn't. So I'm not sure totally what that says about me in general, but there were some good comedic moments as well, which I thought was great. It didn't do that MCU thing, just all these stupid one-liners and stupid jokes that just are just awful, okay? I thought it was a perfect blend of action, humor, some touching moments, and also just a dramatic story. And so I liked that. I also liked can't say his name right. I liked Mads Mikkelsen's character. He always brings such an interesting presence to any role he plays. Whether he's a semi-good guy or a villain, he's just very captivating. I wish he would have been in it more, honestly. Maybe I'll talk about it if I do a spoiler review. I'm not going to address it in details here, but I just wish that they would have ended his character arc a little differently. Now, the things I didn't like about this movie. There was a part in this film where, as I was watching it, it didn't feel slow, but it clicked in my head, we haven't seen an action scene in a few minutes, and I feel like it's missing something. And if I went back to rewatch it as I'm watching the other 4 films, I'd probably get to that part, and that's when I'd leave it running and go get a snack or check my phone or whatever, because it's just missing some action. So it's not bad or anything, but I would have preferred if they could have shoehorned something in there a little bit. Besides that, there really wasn't much in this movie that I didn't like. I thought it ended well. I don't agree with some reviewers and how they say Phoebe Waller-Bridge or whatever her name is, her character is really annoying and terrible, and you can't wait for her to be off a screen, and she's a feminist and blah blah blah. I didn't really get that. Yes, she's annoying, but she's not like Melissa McCarthy annoying or something. I felt she was fine. I liked that they didn't make her higher or even on the same level as Indiana Jones. This is definitely his movie. So I was fine with that. I totally disagree with people who say she's unbearable to watch in this movie. Okay, so my rating for a first time watch and enjoyment factor, I would give this an 8, honestly. I really had a nice time with it. I wore my full costume, except for on the drive there I realized that I left my shoes at home, and I was wearing my stupid, Croc things. I wasn't going to turn around and drive an extra 20 minutes to change my shoes, so it was 87 degrees, but it was worth it, because now I can say I did it, So yeah, I would give this an 8 for a first time watch and just for enjoyment. I think for rewatchability, I'd give this a 6.5. As good as it was, it didn't have that rewatchability factor that Raiders has or Last Crusade has. Overall, the film, as a whole, I would probably give it a 7.5. Alright, what were your thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? Have you seen it? And are you going to see it if you haven't? Leave your comments below. I would be interested in reading them. And as always, if you'd like this video and subscribe to my channel, I would very much appreciate it. Alright, thanks for watching. My name is Aaron, and I hope you come back and see me in another video. Goodbye.